Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
It's the podcast that has no calories, no filling substances whatsoever, just perfect for your New Year's diet. You didn't like that one, Jay?
I'm just trying to decipher it.
Yeah, Guys of a Certain Age. Robbie Koblenz in studio alongside
Art Shirley.
And
Jay Reed.
Who already talked. He jumped on top of Art's line.
That's okay. He
Way
could
to
have
go,
gone
Jay.
first. I think he was going to point to you, and I just jumped in.
Yeah, I was. I was going to point to Jay just like that. I just pointed to Jay, but that's okay. You guys notice what I'm wearing? I'm wearing
That's very cool.
My Batman virtual 5K swag. I've got the puffer jacket that doesn't have much puff to it. Yeah, but pretty cool. I got a cool shirt. I got a medal, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
I like the Batman stuff. I did the Batman virtual 5K, signed up for it, and the Superman virtual 5K, which all this stuff happened back in September, so they're trying to push swag out. And I'm running a 5K in a couple weeks, and I'll upload that time. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Tried to get my fellow co-host to do a 5K with me, but it was met with silence and cricket.
Oh, I
sounds.
said it should be a goal of mine. I thought we were going to do it in September.
I thought it was
September.
This coming September.
Yeah, that's right. We couldn't go back in time.
But Cher could. Cher could. If
I thought you would go with Doctor Who for sure.
Yeah, I went with the least
Cher
expected.
be the next Doctor Who?
I hope not.
Hey.
I hope not. You like the specials, didn't you, Jay? The
I
Doctor
did,
Who
yeah.
special.
And I thought there's a fourth one now, right? I think there's a fourth.
There was the
special.
Christmas. Yeah, there was the Christmas one.
Well, I saw 3 around Christmas, but then the other day on Disney, there was a number 4.
Yeah, that was the Christmas Day one.
Okay, I have not seen that
with Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor.
Okay.
So it's his first adventure.
I need
Pretty
ketchup.
Good. Yeah, you need, and mustard too.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm on fire.
He relished that joke.
Wow. Kind of put him in a pickle with it, didn't I?
Spread himself a little thin. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Is he passing out?
I cannot compete.
Passing out.
Does your mom know you smoke? No, just kidding. That's a joke.
We're not talking about Mrs. Reed
Right.
anymore because we have been scared to the straight and narrow by Mrs. Reed. Let's jump into some Geeks of the Week. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Imagine that.
Channing Tatum. Y'all know Channing Tatum?
Yes.
He has confirmed that his adaptation of The Max is still happening. I don't think I knew he was adapting The Max. But
what is
The
Max? No.
You remember if you see the character. Remember this guy?
No.
Not Max Headroom.
Not Max Headroom.
No.
It was a cartoon that was on MTV, The Oddities, the same time Aeon Flux was running.
Eon Flux.
Eon Flux, is that what you said?
Flux, yeah.
Yeah, because it's yeah. Okay. Anyway, same time that was running, Sam Keith is the one that created it. It's great. It was a comic book as well, but there was a cartoon that ran on MTV, and it was just really, really a cool thing. And he's adapting it. I guess it will be, a
live action adaptation.
I don't think I can't imagine it being live action. Maybe it is. I didn't see anything about it. What I'm looking at here, so I'm thinking he's probably still going to make it a cartoon, possibly 3D animated.
I don't even remember that one, and I remember watching Eon Flux and a couple other things, animation wise, from MTV at that point. I just don't remember that one at all. That doesn't mean anything, but
Me neither.
I mean, Jay, were you watching cartoons on MTV at that time?
I was watching MTV, but I don't recall watching any cartoons aside from Beavis and Butthead on. And I was kind of a late bloomer to that.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Fire.
Archie! It's the only two impersonations.
Edith and Butthead.
Yeah. Oh, would that not be great? Edith and Butthead. So, all right.
Edith and Meathead.
Oh, that's right.
Beavis and Meathead. Wait a minute. There's all kinds of combinations. We can
So install Pluto on a friend of mine's television that he got for Christmas. I mean, like this 85-inch monster of a TV.
Wow.
It's just huge. It looks great. It's a Samsung. Highly recommend Samsung LED and QLEDs. Install Pluto for him. And there's an All in the Family channel on Pluto.
I'm not surprised.
Is that not a great thing?
I need to do that. I keep saying
Get an 85-inch TV or install
Well,
Pluto.
that would be nice too, but install Pluto as well.
Pluto is great. It's completely free. You do not have to have a login, nothing. You just install the app.
You just got ads, though, right?
Yeah. It's the way television used to be.
I'm sorry. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about Plex. I have Pluto.
Yeah.
Love Pluto. I watch Mission Impossible. I'll sit there, and for some reason, even though there's like 6 seasons of it, I always manage to see the same 3 episodes.
That's the way it is with me and Doctor Who. I get stuck on like the season 5, 6, whatever, Pertwee's, the third Doctors. I don't recognize it.
That's the Mission Impossible working song. That's
Okay.
what they would play when Barney was doing something with electronics, sweating, about to sweat on whatever component part he was working on.
So I think it's safe to say more people know the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible than the Legacy Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, probably just by virtue of the fact
Current
that
generation, yeah.
Yeah, generation.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise. So anyway.
Just like more people, have no idea who the older Doctor Who's are.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Even though the BBC's done a really nice job of pulling it back in, they've. I think I've talked to you guys before. This could be a geek, but it's not. They have taken all the Doctor Who content the BBC has and recaptured it from its different platforms. You can watch on their iPlayer software platform every Doctor Who ever made.
I think that was a geek at one point.
It was.
It was.
It's been won twice now.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just great. You can't do that outside the United Kingdom. So
Yeah.
because rights and all
If
that.
you had a VPN or whatever, could you?
Oh yeah. But I've never been able to get a VPN to work real well.
Yeah.
Maybe my cousin Mervin could help me.
I've got one that I'm trying out. I may.
I've used one before with pretty good success, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, Jay, what's your geek?
I don't have a geek.
Oh yeah,
I
you're
have
gonna
my own segment now.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's right. Or his mom will come after us. Oh, that was okay. So my geek of the week is James Gunn furthering his creative tentacles into the DC universe. So somebody on Twitter asked James Gunn, who was the voice director for the upcoming Creature Commandos animated series, and James Gunn says, "I directed all the primary actors." So he did all the directing. I think he wrote the first couple of episodes of Creature Commandos. So he has just gone full bore into DC creative mode.
So that is one of the projects in the new universe, correct?
That's right.
And it's animated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's kind of a precursor to the Suicide Squad because it's got, who's in it? It's one of the characters from the Suicide Squad, his dad, I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I probably won't watch it. Will you watch that, Art? You think that will be something you'll jump on?
I just don't know. I probably will see it, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to swerve off a little bit. Have either of you guys watched anything of Echo on?
I don't have Disney Plus anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's one of the Purge.
One of the Purge.
Yeah. I can't recommend Echo enough. It is completely different than any other Marvel live action. And one of the things I found interesting, Art, do you remember the old Marvel Spotlight comic book series?
Yep.
So this has been branded Marvel Spotlight.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
With the idea you don't have to have watched anything Marvel outside of this. So they had flashbacks with scenes from Hawkeye that popped up.
Because that's where she made her first appearance.
That's right. That's right. So, but it's a great 5-part series. They dropped everything all at once. Vincent D'Onofrio, who I can never pronounce his last name, I think it was as good as I've ever done. Fabulous as Kingpin.
So just 5 episodes only.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's it's kind of a standalone arc that kind of picks up from where it left her story off at the end of Hawkeye.
Okay.
So, but it's great.
I will watch that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Your wife might enjoy it. Now it is
It's a little rough around the edges as far as like violent and dark.
Did you watch Daredevil on Netflix?
Not completely, but a lot of it. Yeah.
So fights are like that. So it's not quite as bloody as, but it's quite good. It's really, really good. So, but anyway, so Marvel Spotlight,
That's a great way to do that.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. What they should have called the Werewolf by Night thing.
Yeah.
It should have been a spotlight. And they probably should leave it where it could either be a standalone movie or a small short series. Because you said it's only 5 episodes, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And along those same lines, I'll just add more geekage in. Vincent D'Onofrio said with the purge that happened with Daredevil Born Again, where they basically fired everybody involved with it. They were halfway through filming, and they said, okay, let's recenter. At that point, they made the Daredevil Netflix shows canon in the MCU.
And also, they're bringing the original Foggy and Karen Page back.
Yeah,
I saw that.
That's right.
I'm glad
that was going to be my geek, and I completely forgot about it. Yeah,
well, there you go.
There they are. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So
that's good. I'm glad they are. I felt like those actors had been kind of screwed over.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited. Sorry, Mrs. Reed.
I don't know.
She's coming for you, man.
It's kind of the gray area there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm really looking forward to that if it ever comes out. So, and apparently Andor 2 is started production.
Really?
Or is about to start production.
Cool.
So, anyway, yeah, there you go. Jay, have you watched The Bear yet?
I have not. I still don't have Hulu.
You don't have Hulu. Do you still have Hulu?
I forgot to. I had paused it for a couple of months, and I forgot to continue the pause. So we have Hulu this month.
Watch The Bear.
I've watched about 4 episodes of it.
What do you think?
I didn't care for it. Becky loves it.
Really?
She and Drew will finish it up. Yeah.
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 We're about done with season 1 of Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah. I love that.
That was pretty fun. So,
and there's something new that's kind of similar to that's out on Hulu with Mandy Patinkin.
Only Missing People in the Subway.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jay, are you ready for your?
I'm ready.
You ready for your solo segment? This is the
Jay's Regrettable segment.
Jay's Regrettable segment.
Featuring
a regrettable segment from Jay Reed.
All right, so this is our second go around with featuring a hero from the League of Regrettable Superheroes by John Morris book, and it's interesting that y'all brought up Spotlight because this character actually was featured in 1944 first in Spotlight Comics.
Wow.
Oh, it's almost like we planned it.
Almost like we planned it.
Trust me, guys, we did not. We did not at all.
And there's another correlation too, and I didn't realize because I was trying to find more pictures because there's just one picture here in this book. The character's name is the Black Dwarf, and so when I looked it up, I discovered, and I'm sure y'all already knew, there's another character in Marvel fandom called the Black Dwarf.
I did not know that.
Also known, I believe, as Cole Obsidian, one of Thanos's sort of henchmen, generals, something like that.
Yeah,
that name
he's kind of a
sounds more
monster. He
familiar.
looks like a monster.
Yeah, he was in Endgame.
But I've never,
Yeah, or was it Infinity Wars? That's where I kept saying the reference, but something. Yeah. But anyway, he's more of a monster look. This is just a guy. This is a guy, and the funny thing is about in this picture in the book, he's the name is the Black Dwarf. There's nothing black about him. There's nothing dwarfish about him in the picture. He looks like a giant, but
he does.
His actual name is Shorty Wilson. He says he stood about shoulder height of the average man. He's an All-American football star, but he put on a gaucho hat and black robes and had a couple of pistols and went out and fought crime. So this is another crime fighter. Very Shadow-esque crime fighter. No superpowers.
He's got a red cape on him.
He did have a red cape, and it says black robes, even though it's green here. So I don't know. That's why I was trying to find more pictures.
Apparently, it was drawn by a guy who only stood shoulder height and was colorblind. So it may have been in another life.
Art, certainly. No.
Yeah.
Created by Paul Gattuso and possibly Dana Dutch, so that's the names it's giving.
And Art Shirley.
That's right. Those are my pseudonyms.
So, 1944. He had a gang. The gang was.
You have a gang, Art.
Yeah. Hey, so far so good. So let me give you the names of his gang, and y'all can guess what their specialties were. Nitro.
Fire guy. Blood explosive guy. Rather.
Exactly right.
Pyro,
okay.
Nitro. Yeah.
The Human Fly or Fly.
He was a human fly.
No superheroes. He was an acrobat and stuntman.
Okay.
So not a zipper related.
This one's a little bit harder. The next one.
That would be you, Jay.
The next one. Ooh. Sponsored by would be app. Not sponsored by. The other guy's name is Dippy. This is a little harder.
Dippy.
He has a chaw.
A chaw?
Like a tobacco?
No. Tobacco.
No, he's a pickpocket.
Oh,
Dip into the pocket. And then the girlfriend's name was the lovely but deadly Arsenic.
Arsenic, poison.
Yeah, I guess that didn't really say what she does.
She was a poisoner.
But like I said, they just fought crime. Apparently, a lot of the story revolved around the street slang, the language that they use.
Okay. And this took place in the mid-40s? Okay.
Yeah, so here's some examples. Ixnay on the horseplane, my noble knave, or I'll pop lead pellets into your gizzard.
Okay.
Take a bite of knuckle pie. I'll pop, let's see. You can't play blind man's bluff when your shoes squeak, chum. So that's the kind of thing that they would do.
Just the way that Jay
Sounds
usually talks.
That's right.
And if that didn't work, they weren't afraid to shoot somebody. So it wasn't like there were some.
It's kind of like the Apple Dumpling Gang.
There were some dead bodies in this comic. It only lasted a few comics, but apparently another. The Chesser. This is from Harry Chesler Publishing. They sold everything to another publisher, and they revived the characters under a different name of Blue Monk. So I guess it needs a something with a robe and a color to qualify. And the girlfriend became Satana.
That sounds more familiar to me.
Yeah, so that was what they eventually became.
Did you have a girlfriend named Satana?
I did not. No.
We don't talk about Satana.
Ixnay on the Satana talk, chums.
So anyway, the Black Dwarf of old, not the current Black Dwarf of Marvel.
Okay.
And thus closes Jay's regrettable segment.
No, we don't close. What we say
right.
is regrettable or not. Do we think this, because the hero we talked about last week was
7-Eleven. Yep.
Yeah. I would say, I'm going to say regrettable.
I'm going to say regrettable on this one too.
Yeah. Yeah, very regrettable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so we're 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
Ixnay on the Lac Bay Wharf Day. I used to be really good at Pig Latin.
It's not Pig Latin. I guess it is Pig Latin. Ixnay is. Yeah, that's right.
Ixnay is Pig Latin.
I was thinking you were talking, the whole gang was, but only Ixnay was the.
No, he was.
Yes. Yeah. I get it now. I'm not paying attention.
So what does Ixnay mean in regular?
Nix,
Ixnay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't continue the sentence in Pig Latin, just that one
but
word.
Yeah, you were right. Rhyme. Okay, I see.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, so
stay tuned for more.
Yes,
it's regrettable.
Can't wait for that. So, but you'll wait for a second. We'll be back. We're going to talk Monarch: Legacy of Monsters from Apple TV Plus in just a minute. And we're back with the Monarch portion of our show.
Portion.
I can't even talk.
Portion.
Yeah. So that means it's royal? Is this the royal part of the show?
That's right.
Yeah. So Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which everybody's seen, right? Jay,
Correct.
You've seen?
I have seen.
Yes.
So this is a new series on Apple TV Plus that I wasn't expecting much from, starring Kurt and White Russell and some other folks who I've never seen before but did a great job.
There was one guy that Drew recognized. But other than that, I didn't. None of us recognized anybody that was on the show.
So the setup with this is Legacy, who has licensed the Godzilla character and the gallery of monsters from the Godzilla universe, which is now referred to as the MonsterVerse.
Toho Studios.
Studio created Godzilla, and so Legacy has licensed it and created this entire film and now TV universe, shared universe. So this ties directly in with Godzilla, Skull Island, Godzilla versus King Kong, Godzilla King of Monsters. And it was a very clever device in and of that the TV show flashed between the 1950s in 2015, and you saw two parallel stories as the Titans, as the monsters are known, became known to the U.S. And when I watched Godzilla, the original Godzilla of this new run, they recreated the 50s Bikini Atoll where they detonated the nuclear bomb to try to destroy Godzilla that you see in the Godzilla movie. They recreated it pitch perfect almost in the TV show. So plus you have John Goodman, who plays one of the characters from the 50s adults version in the 70s. He appears at the beginning.
See, and we didn't realize that we didn't make that connection until the end of the series. Oh, he is Randa.
Randa.
He's Bill Randa.
Yeah,
and so he played Bill Randa in Skull Island.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Skull Island since it came out, so I'm thinking, okay, that's who that is.
But how cool is that?
That's very cool. The connections.
I didn't realize that.
The way they've done the connectivity is really good. And yes, the Wyatt Kurt Russell thing may have seemed like a gimmick going in, but it worked so well.
Oh, yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
And both of them are incredible actors. I've always loved Kurt Russell, but Wyatt Russell just did a great job. And they're enough alike, that it worked, but different enough where there was a very separate piece between the two timelines.
So just some background spoilers. We're going to talk about the show. Monarch is the pseudo-governmental agency that was originally under the auspices of the U.S. military that was created to deal with Titans, primarily Godzilla. But as they got into exploring Godzilla's origins, other Titans came out, which led up to the Godzilla movie from 2015, which was G-Day, when Godzilla attacks or tramples through San Francisco to go fight another Titan. So Monarch, so the part of the story is how Monarch starts. The other part of the story is how one of the main characters, who you don't see until halfway through, he's leading two separate lives. He's got a family in Tokyo and a family in San Francisco. And he goes he goes missing during G-Day, which happened in the 2015 Godzilla movie. Yeah. And his daughter leaves San Francisco to go to Tokyo to try to find him, and discovers, wait, he married another woman, had a son. Yeah. And so he had this whole duplicitous.
Which is an interesting thing to do. I mean, they could have made it, related family somehow that they just didn't know. But for him to be living a double life and have a whole,
there were several elements like that I thought were okay. This is not essential to the story, but it does create.
Yeah, it creates a dynamic and some tension that wouldn't have been there,
which was phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well.
Absolutely phenomenal. So you have this quest for these two half siblings who are looking to find their dad. They stumble upon Monarch, which is tracking these outbreaks of Titans across the world, while the parallel story is the beginning of Monarch as these three founding members of Monarch, Wyatt Russell being one of them,
who played Lee Shaw,
and Bill Randa, and I forget who's the
Keiko.
Yeah, Keiko. She was the PhD. She was the brains behind the operation. As they're starting out, and then the relationships develop there, and you have the relationships that transpose across time, because Keiko and Bill Randa's son.
Well, it wasn't Bill Randa's son.
No. It was, but he adopted him. Well, he raised him his own.
But I kept thinking it was his son, and then wondered, is it actually Lee Shaw's son? And then after a while you realize,
then you figure out,
she's had this son for a while.
So Keiko is a PhD from Japan who is studying gamma radiation. Yeah. She's a physicist.
And this kind of in the wake of World War II, which makes her suspect. Yeah. Just by being a Japanese person working with the U.S. military.
Right. Yeah, and that comes up.
And she comes to the U.S. to work with the U.S. government with to help set up Project Monarch. You realize that she has a son from a previous marriage. I think he died. I think the father died. And so she's a single mom in the 50s trying to break into a male-dominated field. Yeah. She has a son at home. Bill Randa, both characters fall in love with her. Bill Randa ends up marrying her because Lee Shaw, spoilers, goes missing. He disappears. Bill Randa and Keiko's son, Bill adopts him, ends up being the father of the two half-siblings who meet in Tokyo. Yeah. So you've got this whole legacy of family across.
Which then at the end comes full circle, which I thought was one of the coolest parts.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So basically the premise is these two kids are trying to find their dad, and in the process discover the history of Monarch, which is quote unquote the family business, because their grandparents were founding members, their dad was highly involved, and then they're going around finding these Titans, end up breaking their pseudo uncle Lee Shaw out of a retirement home facility.
And he'd been in for 30 years.
Yeah. And so he goes to look for their dad, finds these Titans in between, yada, yada, yada. Multi-layered, just an incredibly well-done piece.
Really well done, yeah. And the thing is, and I know this was one of the complaints of the story, is you would have episodes that didn't feature a monster at all.
I was wondering what y'all thought about that. And was there enough
There was one episode.
Absolutely. for me.
Well, like I said, that there was that one episode you went, oh, okay, well, we didn't have, it got soap opera-ish to me. But the payoff was worth it because you come around and all those, to me, it seems like pretty much all the loose ends they had. The company May was working for, May was a friend of the sons, who also became friends, possibly love interest for Kate, the daughter.
Yeah.
But
she
has some shady past.
Right.
So she's working for Apex, which becomes a commercial rival to
Monarch.
And Apex has the facility in Pensacola that gets destroyed by Godzilla at the beginning of Godzilla versus Kong.
Right.
So,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's so involved. It's really...
So it's, like I said,
And they
initially
end up saving the day.
Initially,
at the
as
end.
I'm watching the show, I'm thinking, oh, I hate that we didn't see a monster this episode. And then when you look at the thing as a whole, I think we were in good shape. I think everything worked out pretty well because you had some very monster-centric episodes that if they had just gone through and said, we're only going to see, Godzilla once, and then we'll talk about him for the rest of the episode, that would not have been good. But you had enough, and you had different monsters. I mean, Godzilla was a supporting character in this, which is probably as it should be.
Yeah. Season 2 has not been greenlit.
Yeah, I was reading about that coming in. Russell is saying, I'll definitely talk to them if they want to, but nothing has been.
And they
official.
left it where that could be open.
Yeah.
I mean, he could
just
disappear.
spoiler alerts. Yeah,
or not.
He could be stuck in. There's a hollow world, other dimension, in which we saw in one of the Godzilla Kong movies. I can't remember which one it was.
Skull Island. You end up seeing
Was it Skull Island? Or was it one where they?
Well, no.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Godzilla versus Kong. Skull Island. It's hinted at. They actually go into it in Godzilla versus Kong.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't know if it's a Hollow Earth thing or if it's the another dimension. They mentioned it could be either one of them, but time passes differently there, which is why.
And you know how I feel about time travel, but I think that was well done.
Yeah, I think that works
I think
okay.
this worked really cool, especially. I mean, that was probably one of my favorite moments of the season, is when Kate is down there and looking around and trying to figure out how she's going to save herself from this Titan, and all of a sudden, Kay shows up.
Yeah. Now
Her grandmother pops up. Yeah.
There were some similarities in Marvel movies that I couldn't help notice.
Yeah.
Because that one reminded me of the Quantumanium.
Yeah, Quantumania.
Where the Wasp, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, the original Wasp, shows up, and she's kind of had to survive, and so you see Keiko doing the same thing. And then also, I thought it was interesting that Wyatt Russell, playing Lee Shaw, is suddenly a man out of time. He's 20. He's missed 20 years. 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Yeah, because 62 to 82.
Yeah.
And comes back, and he played the pseudo Captain America, and that's what happened to the real Captain America in Marvel. So he's kind of playing the same thing that happened to Steve Rogers.
Yeah, and I was wondering the whole time thing. I knew as that last episode was playing out, it looked like it was a day or two at most. And then I was wondering, okay, how are they going to play this out? How long is it going to be? And it was like 2 years, right?
Yes. I thought they were going to come back into present day. So I'm glad it was only 2 years. That was good.
Yeah.
But that's 2 years. One of the articles I read said that, that's 2 years of activity that a season 2 could reflect on.
Yeah.
Tell us kind of what
and it also
went on.
gives the chance for Apex and Monarch partnership to have done some things that will advance the story. So we don't need to come back and say, okay, now let's do this. They can say, well, we've been doing this for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So
there's a Godzilla Kong 2 about to come out. It's in production. I think it's coming out this year.
I think it is.
So it's going to be real curious to me how much of the TV show they pull in. So
now, am I wrong? Kong shows up at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay. I had that flash of memory a minute ago and couldn't remember if I made it up. So that could be also a feature of the second season if there was one.
I think we'll see. I hope they'll bring more of the whole stable of Toho monsters. Rodan and Mothra and some of the other ones in. I think that'd be great. They may want to limit Godzilla and Kong's involvement, as if they're actors, in this thing, just to kind of make sure that they don't write themselves into any, holes or whatever, so they'd have to try to get out of those in the movies.
Right.
But I think we'll see them. I mean, I think we'll continue to see them.
I just thought it was way cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. And For All Mankind finished up at the same time. So I didn't know which one I was going to watch first, For All Mankind or Monarch, because they dropped the same day.
Yeah, we're halfway through this season of For All Mankind.
So that's about where we are.
And we watched Fool Me Once on Netflix. And that we were kind of the same way. We go, do we want to watch Fool Me Once, or do we want to watch an episode of For All Mankind? And we ended up watching one or two of one. We finished Fool Me Once last night, so we'll probably hit For All Mankind pretty hard this weekend.
Boy, it's For
really
All
good.
Mankind. It's great. It's just, it's very Ocean 11-esque with
the whole thing going on. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it does a really good job of, keeping you interested in a story without having to kind of repeat a similar story each season. Every season is something new, and there's a whole new, like I said, there's kind of a funnier story or lighter story maybe, and then there's some very dark stories, but it's just, I mean, there's a reality to the whole thing. I mean, this whole Al Gore, I just watched the episode, and
should we save this for our recap?
We should save it.
We'll save it.
Yeah, you should watch For All Mankind. So last thoughts on Monarch. I mean, I highly recommend it. What do you guys say?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking so too. I wonder what
gets my guy vote. Are we voting 3 guys today?
3 guys.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 guys anyway.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, three guys.
What do we think the production turnaround is going to be for this thing? Because that's one problem that Apple TV...
For this podcast? 2 weeks, but no.
No, for Monarch.
Well, since they haven't even said it would happen yet.
See, that's, I think, Severance I loved, and it's going to be another couple of years before we even see any Severance.
I think it's probably going to be 18 months for if it gets greenlit, it's going to be 18 months.
Yeah.
So.
Production value's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's nothing on it. In anticipation for what we thought we'd be talking about, I ended up watching the new version of The Land that, not The Land, the time I forgot. What is it? The Land That Time Forgot. Yeah, that's what it was. I was thinking that was that dinosaur movie, but that's not what it was.
That's The Land Before Time.
The Land Before Time. It's like I always, I just want to do that. Anyway, C. Thomas Howell's in a new version of that, and it is really
pretty rough.
It's as bad as you think it is. It's a little worse.
Oh wow!
But this one, I mean, you felt like you were watching movie production values. There was nothing in there that was second rate.
I agreed.
It looks great.
And all the actors that we saw, even though we didn't know who they were, all of them I thought were great.
Yeah, even the monsters. I mean, it was not CGI-ish. I mean,
no, very yeah.
And the girl that played Kate, you're talking about. We haven't seen much of her. There's a new version of Shogun.
Yeah,
coming
she's
out.
in that. Yeah, and that's what I thought.
Major player.
She especially, to me, I said she's going to be in a bunch of stuff because she just has a real star quality about her.
Yeah, and her IMDb is not very long now, but
I'm looking forward to Shogun too.
So I forget her name, the lady who played the head of Apex.
Yeah,
she was in The Expanse. She was Naomi Nagata in The Expanse.
Okay,
that's where
I started trying to watch that again too. So I'll probably continue that. But and some of those folks, I'm sure I have seen in other things, but they just didn't jump out to me as immediately recognizable.
What was really interesting back in the 2000s and 2010s is as all these shows were being shot in Toronto, these type of shows were shot in Toronto, Smallville, Battlestar Galactica. Mm-hmm. Everything was being shot in Toronto because of film and Vancouver primarily Vancouver because of film subsidies. You had the same actors
showing up in different shows. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So not Toronto, Vancouver, because it was just up the coast. So, but a lot of fun. So, all right, highly recommended by 3 guys. Yeah. Watch MonsterVerse. Watch Legacy. No, I can't even get
Monarch.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and you might want to watch. You don't have to, but it would be fun to watch the Godzilla movies prior.
Yeah, I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
So which ones are connected?
All of them.
Well, the ones that are produced by Legacy, because there's 2 new. There's a Godzilla Minus One, which is not part of this. It's the original Toho studio remaking Godzilla.
Okay.
We're getting back into that. And there's another movie called Shin Godzilla, same company, but not tied to these. So you've got Godzilla, Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah. Then Skull Island.
Skull Island. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So all of those have those tie-ins that you were talking
exactly.
about. Okay.
And there's an order, to watch them. So.
Yeah, but just Google MonsterVerse and you'll get the Wikipedia article that'll walk you through the order of it. Cool. So lots of fun.
I think I've seen them all. Now I'm curious to go back and see the tie-ins.
Well, everything's on HBO Max right now except for
Skull Island.
Skull Island. I couldn't find Skull Island anywhere.
I own it, but I think it may be on.
You have to rent Skull Island.
Yeah, you have to rent Skull Island.
Yeah, you can rent it on the major services. So, but anyway, all right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time around.